Oh. Are you sure? Hi, there, hi there. Other glasses.
Well, so you put names in there positively.
You see that new technology where you can read run the computer with your mind now?
The more you try, New Zealand can do that.
Oh.
We've lost our sixth sense. They don't talk. Welcome to the regular meeting, Guadalupe City Council, May 14th. Green light. A green light. How about that? Is that there you go. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Costa Junior,
Here.
Councilmember Robles,
Present.
Councilmember Hernandez.
Here.
Councilmember Burnett. Here. Mayor Julian.
Here. Please stand with me for the pledge of allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next time is the moment of thanks, appreciation, or condolences. Is there anyone in council that wishes to hit any of those topics? Good. I call for peace in the world. It's real. We sure do need it. Agenda review. Is there any council member or staff wish to change the order of business? Everybody good? Okay, ceremonial calendar, Fentanyl Awareness Day proclamation. All right, it's my pleasure to introduce proclamation Fentanyl Awareness Day. Whereas Fentanyl Awareness Day is a day of education to raise public awareness that people are dying at alarming rates due to illicitly manufactured drugs mixed with fentanyl, a synthetic opioid, and to increase potency and pressing the pills to look like legitimate pharmaceutical drugs. And whereas the most common drugs involved in overdose deaths are fentanyl and other synthetic opioids, and over 150 people die every day from overdoses related to synthetic opioids like fentanyl. And whereas fentanyl is odorless, tasteless, cheap, extremely potent, 50 times more potent than heroin, 100 times more potent than morphine. And whereas the number of opioid-related deaths involving fentanyl specifically increased from 12 in 2019 to 115 overdoses in 2022. Whereas it's becoming more common for individuals to use drugs without knowing it contains fentanyl and overdosing as a result. And whereas overdose deaths linked to synthetic opioids like fentanyl tripled nationally among teenagers in the last 2 years. Whereas signed into law by Governor Newsom in October 2023, Assembly Bill 701 allows penalties for fentanyl trafficking to mirror those of Schedule I drugs such as heroin and cocaine. And whereas Fighting Back Cambria Valley Coalition will play an important role in highlighting the community-wide effort to increase awareness and decrease the use of highly addictive and dangerous drugs. And whereas to raise awareness and prevent overdose caused by fentanyl, Fighting Back Cambria Valley Coalition and many partners have come together to invite all residents to participate in Fentanyl Awareness Day. Now therefore be it resolved by the virtue of authority vested in me as mayor and on behalf of the city council of the city of Guadalupe, I do hereby proclaim May 9th, 2024 as Fentanyl Awareness Day in Guadalupe. Again, is everybody here to receive? Okay, all right, sir. Go ahead. Yes, I can.
Sure. Okay. Thank you, Peter.
Such an honor to be here with you. I was able to talk to the chief today, and fortunately, Guadalupe is one of the few cities where there hasn't been an overdose death that we're aware of due to fentanyl. We did have what's called rescues. We've had 7 rescues. That's when somebody's administered Narcan for an overdose of opioids. We don't know if it was fentanyl or what it was for. That's a reported reversal. We do know that many times people have their own Narcan, which is great. We've done a great job of getting Narcan, which is a spray that you can use to reverse an overdose if you do it in a timely manner. So people have them in their homes, people have them in their cars. I carry it around in my car. I encourage everybody here to have it available to themselves. Because it is a nationwide epidemic. It's surpassed any other form of death in the country. This year in 2023, we had over 100,000 people die from overdoses of opioids. And so we're very concerned as a community. I'm very thankful for our partnership with the school district here. Guadalupe School District with Dr. Hendel is very proactive. We go into the schools, we talk about the dangers of vaping to our 6th graders, as well as we bring in peers to teach the dangers of cannabis use for youth. And through that, we also talk to them about opioids, and specifically the campaign the DEA has sponsored, which is called One Pill Can Kill. Because what ends up happening is many of our children end up at a party or a situation where they're offered a pill that they're told is a prescription drug, which could get them, if it didn't have fentanyl in it, get them high, like a Xanax or Percocet or something like that, considered a party drug, and it's laced with fentanyl. And now we're finding it in our marijuana as well. So kids will go out thinking they're smoking a joint or smoking something that normally would be bad, but not fatal. And unfortunately, we're having them having to be rushed to the ER or reversed. And so it's very dangerous. The other big fear that we all are running into is addiction. And so fentanyl is very addictive. That's why it's so cheap and so prevalent, is because the people who make it want us to all be addicted to it so they can sell it to us. And so unfortunately, we do have students in junior high and in high school, not here that I'm aware of, but junior high and high school in our community that are addicted and are under medically assisted treatment, which is the only treatment available that will keep them alive. So it is a big problem. So I thank you as a city to recognize Fentanyl Awareness Day. And I thank you for having such a great superintendent who really cares about your kids, to making sure they have good science and good education. And of course, all the parents support as well. So, thank you.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for what your organization does. You know, I was passing through kidney stone many years ago, and they gave me morphine, and it really, that was nice, but if it's 100 times more potent than morphine.
Yeah. So fortunately, I found myself in a situation having to deal with fentanyl, and it was sold in a Ziploc bag. You know, they made Ziploc bag that small. It's smaller than a postage stamp. The bag that it came in was smaller than a postage stamp, and inside was what would look like a piece of salt from, like if you had a salt grinder from Costco, you know, kind of bigger chunks of salt, not rock salt for your ice cream maker. And it was just so small, I couldn't believe it. And that was a full hit of fentanyl for an addict to use. It's that small. And if I, unfortunately, I had injected that fast, then I probably would have been had to be rushed to the hospital. Just don't have any tolerance. So yeah, it's very cheap. The seizures that are coming across the border, the pipeline that we're aware of is the precursor chemicals are made in China, shipped to Mexico, fabricated, and then brought into the US. So there's lots of people trying to cut off that pipeline, but it's really, of course, very difficult because it's so lucrative and so easy to make. It's pretty much everywhere. If you talk to the DEA, most drugs that are on the streets right now have fentanyl in them.
What experiences have you seen here in Guadalupe? Yeah, I don't know if you can figure that, or you have numbers for that, or if
There were 7 reversals.
okay, you mentioned, okay.
Cash was, but kind enough to get me those stats. And that's all we know.
Something like that.
I don't know of anything happening at McKenzie or at the elementary school. Haven't heard of anything like that. Gina Cortez, who is our director over prevention, do we know anything happening at the school?
Hi there, good evening. As far as the school, the only thing that we've been, had to report to us has been, use of marijuana, nicotine products, as far as an alcohol use on campus. Nothing else has been reported to us as far as fentanyl, and we'd like to continue to provide education, support, and services. Adult community members just to continue to prevent that. So I thank you, the resident of Guadalupe, for acknowledging this day and proclamation. Thank you.
And then as far as forgetting that goes, we have had reversals at getting, but I don't believe that they were Guadalupe students. I know a couple of the situations they were in, and from my understanding, they were not local kids. Which is great. I don't want anybody.
Right, exactly. Thank you for your update. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Next item is community participation. We have one written, well, it's on the subject that we're gonna deal with tonight. Yeah, Mr. Alvarez, your item 6.
I find it very amusing that we have dealing with fentanyl that served 4 years in the county as a commissioner for drug and alcohol program for the county for 4 years. And there's the problem we have here. It's not so much the drugs, and I'm based on my experience as a counselor, as is lack of law enforcement. We become pansies when it comes to dealing with implementing the law and actually enforcing the law. Programs that allow people that have addiction to get early or not go at all creates a problem. Then it was mentioned here with marijuana. You guys are in a hard position to be because you guys approved the sale of grass to the general public. Even though it's legal, there are ramifications and there's side effects. Because most people I know that smoke are going to be smoking in the house, secondhand smoke creates problems. You'll see an increase among young getting involved, not because they want to, because they're indoctrinated in their household because of that statement of fact. There's numbers. Factors, but that wasn't my main point. The thing I want to do is we need abatement of houses. There's 2 houses here that should be condemned. I don't know what law enforcement, maybe rephrase that. Quoting for the money we're. If I can see these things and bring it to your attention, what are the people that are getting paid for doing to eradicate the problem? Because it's not worthy people seeing. There was a problem here at Treddy's a few weeks back where a homeless person staying there and left all their garbage middle right there in that little area where you go in Treddy's. Nothing was done for 3 or 4 weeks. It was there visible. I had to call my administrator. Hey, come on, guys. Don't we have enough staff that cruise through town that have a little self-respect for the community? Not apparently. They finally fixed it. But these are the things that represent you as community and myself. I don't want to be known as a slave haven for garbage all over the place. We do have a local resident homeless person. We've seen him on the streets, kind of godish looking, from Greek, long hair, walks back and forth, doesn't stop. All right. Question I have for our mayor, since we're dealing with a clinic here, does your clinic allow homeless people to be served? Because there's one kid here locally that has foot problems dragging his feet here. And again, what are we doing for our outlet? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. Next item for business is a consent calendar. Following items are presented for council as approval without discussion. Is there any council person that would pull an item for discussion? Good. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar A through C?
I make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
There's a second,
I'll second.
any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All ayes, thank you. Item 8 is management reports, city administrator report. Mr. Bowden.
Okay, thank you, Mayor, Council, and public staff. For May, the interest income was $51,000, which is really good. I also wanted to mention that in your packet, you have an attachment of market materials on housing, and the housing market remains competitive as we're seeing a statewide median home price reaching the highest level in 7 months. Sometime in June, you'll be seeing Caltrans will be coming here to give an update on that project, but the Highway 161 project information meeting that's going to be held on it's a Zoom meeting, May 16th at 6 o'clock. There's a flyer attached. There's also a nice monthly memo from Townsend on various grants. Let you know that I'm working with Larry and UPC on looking at all of our planning and building fees. That'll come forward along with if there's any changes with our fee schedule update. I talked with SBCAG and they'll be coming in sometime in June for the Highway 166 and Black Road Traffic Signal Project. Would you guys like to hear anything on the projects from the city engineer? I know it's similar to the last meeting, but I could give you an update on some of those projects if you'd like, as long as I'm here.
Council member wants more additional clarification on that?
It's coming from our city engineer. He's not here tonight.
Even that, I think that if he would be present, I talked to Todd today, he
Yeah.
doesn't need to be here all the time, because these are basically information, it is information that reported forward. It's good to have updates, so maybe,
Okay.
once a month or so.
Sure.
Come in.
I just think it's nice.
No,
The
that's
show
right.
really a lot what's going on,
There's a lot going on.
but there's no significant changes from the last time he presented, so I'll just leave that go. And with that, Mayor and Council, that'll be the end of my report.
Okay. Director of Public Safety, Chief Cat.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council, staff. Just a quick follow-up. Normally, we don't respond to some of the citizen comments, but as far as police, we are doing fine and fire. The fentanyl aspect, the gentleman talked about, we have not had an arrest directly related to fentanyl. 9 times out of 10, when the person is arrested, only way we find out is when they end up going to county jail and they'll do a medical screening. So other than that, there's no way for us to know as far as having the actual fentanyl product, which we have not had. And in that last year and a half, like I said before, we had 7 overdose cases, but again, overdose case, we're not checking the blood levels here in the field of what was in there. That's usually when they go either to the hospital or to court. The other thing we talk about is code compliance. And maybe that's something that maybe in the future I'd like to work with our city attorney, either to do a community meeting or something, so that our citizens understand it's not that. Sometimes they want things done yesterday, and that's not how code compliance, the issues that were brought up today. One was just trash that was over by the bath house at 10th, but I have to I advise the person, it's private property. The city's not going on to private property just for one complaint to clean up and wash down private property. We'd be doing that throughout the entire city for everybody else, and that's a cost. We had already sent notifications to the property owner about getting some of the weeds and other stuff down. I sent that report, I believe it's the last city council, of some of the weed abatements and so forth that we've taken care of. And the other issue as far as homeless, one thing we talk about on a regular basis, and I explain to the citizen, homelessness is not a crime. I know the gentleman and I worked the night shift and I was amazed, stamina. I'm walking up and down from the railroad or from the Amtrak station all the way to 12th and walking back, and I'm working from 7 to 7 in the morning. Did not stop. So there's nothing illegal from walking at night. Other than unsightly individual, he doesn't bother anybody as far as begging for any money. And when we ask him if he takes a break, to leave, we've offered services, we've offered coinage to get him to facilities in Santa Maria. Other than that, we cannot force a person to leave. I understand the angst, but we are talking and dealing with and trying to provide services to homeless or any others that may need those. And we have connections with services in Santa Maria, and we're directing people as a voluntary basis when they do one. So I want to put out there for our citizens, please contact us. And if they want information on a specific location as far as any code compliance, we'll be more than glad to give that. And maybe it's about time we maybe start putting that on the police and fire website as far as locations without names of code compliance areas. That's my report unless there's any questions.
I think it was maybe confusing. You mentioned Paredes. It used to be the commercial and used to be the Basque House. So that's just the commercial building, the big tall building that's boarded up.
That's the one.
So one quick question, this might be helpful. Could we receive a safety team update possibly in next meeting? I know that you mentioned that there's gonna be an update with the safety team.
Oh, I'm sorry, the GFST. Okay, safety team.
Yeah, it could be now or next meeting.
Definitely, I'll get the board of those individuals together. We'd like to maybe do a presentation with them to show who they are and how the programs start. So you can advise to me what you'd like, and I think the update would be best maybe coming from the individuals that are doing it.
Regarding back to the homeless thing, there's an individual that's actually knows all our homeless people. And she comes around and knows all of them.
Yeah.
She knows where they're at, she knows what's going on, and so we're not turning a blind eye to, yes, there you go, yep.
Yes.
And she knows Alfredo. That's the little rooster there at the YK Market. He's his clerk. He's in the car. Yeah. So she knows them all. And like you mentioned, there's no trouble from these individuals. But if there's any issue that we need to get a hold of them, we can get hold of her. So. You know her?
She do. She shared her contact and she's always said she's available to pick it up and help whatever.
Okay,
Never.
great. So it's good to know.
That's good to know.
Yeah. All right, any more questions, Chief? All right, thank you, Chief. There's one house, just to mention on Target Street that we're working on, and I think Phil's working on that, and it's an unsightly house. It was cleaned up once about 6 months ago, 8 months ago, and it's returned back to its original state of untidiness and overgrown everything, so that you can't do anything with that.
Oh, yeah, yes. I'll just, I'll just briefly, say, Mr. Mayor, that, I am working on getting an ongoing order for the code enforcement to go in, maintain, secure the building and keep it cleaned up. Want to get, ongoing order. Also, I have been in touch with the, public administrator for the county, and they're aware that we haven't been able to find a property owner. They've searched, and they're in the process going to sell the house. And any money that we incur to abate the nuisance will be reimbursed. But there's a process, and I'm in the middle of working on that.
Thank you.
Just a follow up, and you kind of reminded me, because the person's viewing this and kind of reminded me via email. 5060 Surfbird. We have citizens who speak up, and I appreciate them so much. We had a similar situation as far as the house. The person had passed away and the weeds had overgrown. And at least, this citizen stepped up and we will recognize that person later on. But they notified us and we sent the letters out, but they took it upon themselves to find the family. It was, sisters and brothers and no one was doing anything. And so when we sent the letter, she also contacted them. I drove by there today. They are out there. They've cut everything down. They're doing the roof right now and they're gonna try to sell the property. So it's one of those things where, sometimes it takes a while and I appreciate our city attorney having that because we don't have that ability to find out who owns it. And then we got our citizens who stepped up and found who the owner was. And we're getting the desired results. And eventually that property is gonna be taken care of and it'll be up for sale pretty soon. So I wish sometimes some of the other citizens would get to hear that it's not an overnight situation. And that we are working on those and we have citizens that are also stepping up and working on those properties. So thank you.
Okay, yeah, for the questions or comments, item 10, Recreation Services Managers Report. Denise.
Hello, thank you so much for having me again tonight. Thank you to the public for watching. I'm gonna start off by talking about our Cinco de Mayo event. It was the event that we had on May 5th at Leroy Park Community Center. I think everyone really enjoyed it. I got a lot of feedback from the community after the event. They liked the dancers and the marimba band that we had, all the different activities and the booths for kids and for families, and then the info booths as well, just to get more information. It's nice to have that one-on-one contact with these different resources that are available in the community. So overall, I think it was a success. I thank everyone that came out and all the organizations that helped put it on. And I look forward to more events like that. The next thing I want to chat about is our volleyball, dodgeball, and basketball drop-in schedule. This month for May, we added in dodgeball. It's coming up on Sunday, the 18th. The schedule is posted not only on the social media, but it's also posted on our bulletins. It's posted on the doors to the auditorium where it all gets held. And I'm really excited to see what our turnout is for dodgeball because we'd like to add a new sport to regularly have it on the schedule. We just want to see what the outcome is and how many people are interested. And if it's not dodgeball, we'll move on to another sport and give the community some new options and see what it is that works best. I do have to say on a personal note, I was here earlier this month and I was leaving my office right about the time that everyone showed up for a volleyball drop-in. And by the time I walked out to my car, there were already about 20 people waiting at the door before it was even 5 o'clock to get in. And as I was getting in my car, there were more kids walking down the block towards the auditorium. So I was excited to see that. I don't always have time to stay and watch drop-in and see what those numbers are. But Joe Harris, our recreation commissioner, he is always there and always volunteering and making sure that the kids have these sports accessible to them. So watch out for the schedule on our Instagram and our Facebook. And if that doesn't work for you, you can always swing by and look at the bulletin in front of the recreation department. Movie nights are going to start June 21st. We are going to hold them inside of the community center at Leroy Park. It's a little warmer, a little more comfortable. I'm gonna encourage kids to come in their jammies and bring their favorite pillows or blankets or whatever they like. We're gonna have popcorn and food as always for sale and look forward to that. Our next one after that will be July 12th and we'll be moving through all the way into the end of the year with movie nights. I think having them inside will encourage more people to come because Guadalupe evenings can be a little windy and a little cold. So yeah, it's nice to have that community center as a venue for the community to use. And last but not least, moving forward, June 30th, I'm planning a collaboration for Art in the Park. Really looking forward to that. It will be at Leroy Park and it will be a combination of outside and inside the community center. And we're gonna find some really cool creative vendors. We're going to have some art classes. We're going to have different kind of picnic style games like musical chairs and like potato sack races and some of those kind of old school activities that maybe people don't do so much now, but are really fun. We're also going to have bouncers and music and food. So look forward to telling you more about that in the future.
Thank you for that. You know, just to, on the volleyball side, one of the kids that, he's a kid, he's been playing there for a couple of years. He, played volleyball for Rigetti, lettered in volleyball. Plus he's assistant coach. And he's always out here playing, and he brings other people in to do the same thing, so. And you see a lot of youth, I used to play, but you can't keep up with these kids anymore. But it's great that it's open, and thank you for sharing with that information. Any questions?
So dodgeball is Saturday or Sunday?
Saturdays.
Dodgeball, we're just gonna have it one time this month because we're kind of testing it. It's going to be on Saturday, May 18th, from 10 to 12 in the auditorium.
You know that Christina was the dodgeball queen, huh?
Come and show us what you got.
Playing with a tennis ball and lining against the wall. Not late point.
For the movie night, is there an opportunity to share that flyer with the superintendent to share through Parent Square?
I'm sorry, share that with.
With the superintendent to share via Parent Square?
Yeah, so actually, starting with my Cinco de Mayo event, I am now sharing every single event I do, including monthly drop-ins with the school district, so they put it on the Parent Square app. I'm also printing flyers so that every single classroom and bulletin board at both schools has a copy. I think I can attribute a little bit of the success of the Cinco de Mayo event to that, as well as drop-in, because Joe did tell me, like, hey, you know, he's like, I was asking some of the kids, like, where did you hear about this? Or, you know, where did you get the information? Same thing with Cinco de Mayo. And people were saying, oh, we saw it on the app, or we saw it at school. So that's a huge, I think one school has about 540-ish students. Another one has 740. So I can't get a flyer to every single kid just because it would be a lot of cost. But I figured, you know, if I can get it to the parents at home, and if I can get it visually where they're seeing it every day in the classroom until the new flyer goes up, it's just one more avenue so that everyone can be involved.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? So in the regular business, we'll go to International International Association of Firefighters. Ms. Villegas.
Yeah.
Now we get to the floor now. They're gonna walk in.
Waiting outside.
The International Association of Firefighters Local 443 MOU. The last time that it was an agreed upon MOU for the fire department in the city was June 30th, 2021. There's not been an agreed upon MOU since then. There were negotiations that happened that occurred after
I
that.
want to turn the other one off. Yeah. Yeah, just should.
Push the button in the middle.
Right one.
Thank you, Chief.
Still good. Still.
You might want to move.
Here, do you want, this one works better.
Right, yeah, that's all. That's done.
Still good, that's all right.
There you go. This one works.
There we go.
One home, the other one.
Yes.
As I was saying, that the last MOU was in 2021, and there were negotiations that developed that. Hoping to reach further agreement, but what was reached was impact. And on November 22nd, 2022, council approved the last yes and final offer. And we imposed various changes to the terms of conditions of employment. Negotiations continued after that, again hoping to reach another agreement, and that didn't occur until late March, April this year. We're pleased with that. And I want to go through the MOU that are somewhat significant. First of all, assuming are hoping that the council approves the MOU today, it's 3-year term. 2024 through June 30th, 2027. And, there are 3 salary increases that will occur during the term of this MOU, the first being July 1st, 2024, and that'll be a 10% increase, salary increase. The next one will be a year later, July 1, 2025, and that's an 8% increase. And the third increase will be another 8% effective July 1st, 2026. One thing that we did stress was that there would be no retroactivity, which is why the first one is a couple months from now, one threshold, as has been done in our situation. The schedule is as it always has been, about 48 hours on, 96 off, 2 days on, 4 days off. There were sessions, back in 2022 where a variety of options were looked at as far as changing the shifts, but we held off on that. And there are no changes. Two on, 4 on. Another change was the bereavement leave, and that was only to make it compatible with the state law, which took effect January 1, 2023. And that says, the new law says that an employee is eligible for up to 5 days of bereavement leave, and 3 of those days are paid, 2 are not, 2 are unpaid. Can take vacation or comp time with the approval of the supervisor. And again, it's up to, it's not automatic 5 days. Another piece of that agreement leave is that those 5 days do not need to be taken concurrently, but I believe they need to be taken within 30 days. 2 other significant changes that occurred with this agreement. One is a streamlining of the grievance procedure and clarification of the discipline appeals. Both Chief Cash and City Attorney Philip Nico were instrumental in making those changes. And basically, those changes were language changes that made both the grievance procedure and the disciplinary appeals more adaptable to the size of the party. I think it's easy to explain. 2 things that were approved in November 2022, when we introduced changes. They were planned, they should have happened then, but they did not, but they will occur this time. One is vacation leave, sick leave, bereavement leave, any paid leave will no longer be considered time worked. And the second change is that, back up the paragraph here. Our payroll is 14 days, 2 weeks for paid bi-weekly, everybody is paid bi-weekly. And that doesn't change. Overtime used to be 80 hours in excess of 108 in a 14-day period. That will change now to overtime will be considered for hours in excess of 212 hours in a 28-day period. That's the calculation for overtime, and it changes from 14-day cycle, I should say, to a 28-day cycle. This still remains 14. This impact on this is for this year, for the July 1, 2024, it'll be an increase of $68,971. For the increase July 1, 2025, that'll be $60,000, $61,000, rounded up. And for the last increase, which is effective for the 26-27 budget, the 8% increase, there'll be $65,500 increase over. So the, without that you, number 2024-32, which is memorandum of agreement, then IFF, local 44, 3, any questions?
Questions for council?
And wanted to comment, one of the rationale for approving by the community, approving the tax measures was to make sure that public safety officials, personnel, fire and police were receiving the just compensation. And I think we're doing relatively well when it comes to how things are looking better for us in the community. And this is, even with this increase, over the next couple of years, the next 3 years will be a 26% increase. And it's still gonna be below, the other communities, but that's where we're at. So, go ahead.
Right, no.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, the intent it's to recognize that the salaries in the fire department have been low. There's no getting around that. And to say that in 2 years, their salaries will increase by 26% is very healthy. And it is very healthy. The intent is not to be comparable to San Maria, as many people want to be comparable. That never happened. Highly unlikely that it will happen, but we are trying to be more compatible with already unsupervised families. So this is a significant change, and I think it's a very positive one, going in that direction.
And we want to retain our staff, so we don't want to,
Most definitely.
yeah, and then make sure that they're well compensated for things they do. Is there a motion to adopt resolution number 2024-32?
I'll motion to approve resolution 2024-32.
Any discussion? Any changes or roll call, please?
Second.
Okay,
Councilmember Carson Junior,
Aye.
Councilmember Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember Hernandez. Councilmember Burnett.
Aye.
You're doing it.
all right, all right,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you. Item 12, the fee waiver policy for the use of city-owned facilities. This is, it's the sun, it's all the radiation. from the sun. There you go. Fee waiver policy for the use of city-owned facilities by nonprofit organizations. Mr. Central.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Would like to acknowledge we did get a public comment on this. That would you like to read it after my report or before?
After.
Okay. This is fee waiver policy to see. As you know, last meeting, there was an extensive staff report detailing the history of fee waivers for use of city facilities. Primarily by the nonprofit community, not exclusively by the nonprofit community. And as I said in the staff report, we're not gonna go over that history. It's all there. We went over it last time. We're moving on. If anyone has any questions about what happened, I'm happy to answer them. The staff brought the policy so that the council could give feedback and direction, which the council did. The primary direction was that any fee waiver should not include a waiver of any costs that are directly incurred by the city. And that, what that essentially means is that the only portion of the charge that's imposed for the use of a city facility that can be waived is the hourly rental fee. That is significant, especially if there's multiple hours involved. But the council is very clear that costs such as the cost for a building attendant, when required, cleaning up after the event, and any utilities that might be used during the event should not be waived, since that would directly impact the city's finances. The proposed policy was revised to explicitly make this council direction clear. Another change that was proposed, to the proposed policy based on the council's feedback, was to eliminate one of the criterions that the council is to consider under the policy when deciding whether to grant fee waiver. To back up and give just a little bit of context, the way that the fee waiver policy works is that if a organization or a government entity that wants to use a city facility wants to request a waiver of the hourly fees for the event, they would make the request to Rec and Parks, which would basically give it to the city council for a decision. And the policy has certain criteria the council can use to justify granting or denying the request. The particular criterion was, quote, the imposition of fees would create a financial hardship on the organization or would have a detrimental effect upon the services provided to the public, unquote. This language was seen as problematic. And I agree, it's not very clear what that means, very subjective. The reason it was included in the first place is because the original policy would have proposed or would have allowed the council to grant waivers of all the costs imposed for the rental of a city facility, such as direct costs that the council said they didn't want waived. So in light of that feedback, that criterion really isn't important anymore. So it was removed from the policy. Now, after the council direction and the meeting, staff got together to discuss this, and it was decided that 2 additional provisions should be added to the policy. Now, as mentioned in the staff report, these were not discussed at the city council meeting, so this would be an opportunity for you to weigh in or reject them or approve them, whatever you wish to do. The first is that we would require that the full security deposit for the event be paid, which would include all the hourly fees that would be charged to the event. Now, if the council were to approve a refund, excuse me, a waiver of those fees, they would be returned to the organization after the event, but on condition that the terms of the rental were agreed to. In other words, that there was no damage caused through malfeasance or failure to supervise attendees or failure to clean up adequately, if that was part of the arrangement. Second addition by staff is that staff does not believe that private events should be eligible for a waiver of the hourly fee. Any event that is subject to the waiver should be open to the public, whether that's free admission or if it's paid admission, it doesn't really matter, but it should not be a private event. So other than those foregoing change, excuse me, other than those 2 changes and the previous ones about the council's complying, revising the policy to comply with the council's feedback and direction, the original policy hasn't really changed. And since we went over it at the last meeting, I won't go through it at length here. That does it for my presentation. I'm available to answer any questions.
Okay. Just any questions first? Mr. Costa?
In this or in any of the policies, is there anything showing like for them to like provide a hardship of why they might be requesting a fee waiver, like for a nonprofit or something? I know there's some nonprofits that don't really generate much money. And also, do we have anything we can add to that after this, if need be, or we have to do it before to approve a resolution?
Well, we could add it here if it's, you want to put the previous requirement back in. There's nothing to prevent an organization from requesting a fee waiver based on financial hardship. It didn't seem as important, given that language was a little bit fuzzy, to make it one of the criteria. It didn't seem as important because the nonprofit could simply request it and then the council could decide to grant it or not. And that fee waiver wasn't really necessary because they're still going to pay something. And if they're that desperate, then they're probably not going to be able to do the event at all. But certainly willing to entertain that and include that back into the policy, some kind of showing. I did, in light of getting, again, trying to be responsive to what I thought was the council's direction, by removing that, I also felt it wasn't necessary to request financial records and bank statements. But if that's important to the council to have some kind of financial hardship before granting a waiver, then we can certainly put that back in the policy.
I personally agree with it. I think that there's some nonprofits that have sizable bank. And for those that don't, it'd be nice to see, well, why, what position are you in that prevents you from,
Okay,
paying?
so
Well, that's my opinion. Maybe other.
that is not a problem. We could do that easily.
Because I just feel like, there might be some organizations that they have a really bad hardship where like what they produce is always like you know, being put like out for something else, or they do. So that's why I was just wondering if there was anything on our policy to,
There was, but I took that out, in light of the fact that, the only thing that was waived was the hourly fee. Which I thought the council, if it was clear that the organization had resources and was just trying to get a savings, then you would be able to say no. But if you want to make it explicit that there should be some kind of financial hardship.
It's a rationale for why.
Yeah. Okay, so, if that's, and I haven't heard from everybody, but I haven't heard anybody disagreeing either. I would say, I would just like to clarify maybe in the language, the criterion that was eliminated. That would impose, the imposition of fees would create a financial hardship on the organization. Or would have a detrimental effect upon the services provided by the public. I think anytime, they could argue, well, anytime that you're gonna charge us hourly fee, it's gonna reduce our ability to provide the services to the public. I mean, I can hear that argument. Wouldn't we wanna limit it to the financial hardship criteria instead of the detrimental effect on the services? Would that, to me, that would make that a little tighter and. Yeah, okay, all right, so that criteria is back in the policy, in the place that it was, with that limited to the statement, the imposition of fees would create a financial hardship on the organization. And do we want to require some kind of financial proof of that? Because I did take that out as well.
I think in that note, in that letter, or maybe we should have a little blurb that says, what's your issues and how would it impact you and your.
Okay, and maybe we could just,
Can you explain?
Yeah.
provide any evidence or something like that. Okay, so let me see if I can look at the policy and see where that, put that in. And while I'm doing that, are there any other, comments?
Yes, there is. I have, on item 1 on the attachment 2, it says submit a letter to the Guadalupe City Parks and Recreation Department. And, I think that the staff should be moving that forward and not having it go before the Recreation Commission.
I thought we took that out.
Yeah, I did, and then I just didn't want it to go to the whole commission.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think it does. I'm
No,
sorry.
it does, but
Okay.
maybe it's not super clear. It says department and I don't just.
Oh, I see. No, the department. Yeah, that would, we could
It didn't
basically
have to go
change
to
that
the-
to the manager.
Right,
Okay.
yes.
That, we'll consider that done. We'll change that. Instead of to the department, we'll say the your title is Recreation Parks Manager,
Recreation
Services manager.
Recreation Services Manager.
Get that right. Cole.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Did we talk last time about? Did we talk last time about, waiving the fee completely? Is that what this is saying, or are we sticking with what, we previously were doing as a discount?
My understanding of the council's direction was that no direct cost to the city would be waived, basically under any circumstances. Now, the organization might be able to provide like volunteer services to clean up, or they may not need a building attendant, so that the actual direct cost might be minimized by utilities, and if it's, they may even be waivable because they might not be easily measured. If it's just electricity, that may be difficult to determine. But my understanding was that those fees wouldn't be waived. It would only be the hourly fee rental.
But were we, and I think that like, when we spoke to the ladies. Did you say that we do 40% off currently? Is that correct? For nonprofits, is that right?
That is, yeah, that is correct.
Changing that, because I just thought we were tightening up that policy, not getting, like doing a complete waiver, but maybe I misunderstood, I'm not sure.
I think that's a good point. You know, we give them 40% discount anyway.
On the hourly
Mhm.
fees, correct?
Off
That's
the
true.
fee, so. Cause they're gonna get that, and then there should be, if they can't deal with the 40%, then that letter should state that, the request,
Yeah, that the, even the rest of the hourly fee
Right.
is a hardship,
right,
financial hardship.
right.
And, okay, so in the policy, I struck language also that said, that the three organizations that would qualify, governmental agencies, nonprofit organizations, that are located in Guadalupe or serve the community, and then Guadalupe organizations directly benefiting the Guadalupe community, such as the community group without nonprofit status. I struck with financial hardship. Did we want to leave that in, or just make that a requirement, that any request should include a statement of financial hardship. I mean, we don't wanna limit it, maybe a Guadalupe organization. You know, actually, I'm gonna take that back, cause that's the way I took that out because of the other thing. It doesn't need to be in there if we're going to. Or put back a requirement that there be some kind of demonstrated financial hardship. Okay. Sorry about that. So what I'm gonna suggest is that. Instead of saying submit a copy of the organization's financial statement, balance, or bank statement, submit proof of financial hardship. Documentary proof of financial hardship, and leave it up to them to decide how to do that.
If basically, they don't have books and stuff that verbalize.
Yeah, something in writing, why, okay, that will, I will change that language in the policy. It will say submit. Documentary evidence of financial hardship. Or that paying the fee would be a potential hardship. The hourly fee, and then the criteria will include the statement that the imposition of fees would create a financial hardship on the organization. And other than that.
Question, clarification,
Yeah,
did
yeah.
you, it doesn't work. We only have one. Sharing.
They're packets worn out.
Fundraiser in Alpha,
I'm sorry,
and we're gonna be hosting a fundraiser for the Alpha.
no, they would not, they would have to demonstrate that, you know, their financial resources are such that they can't really afford the fees to put the fundraiser on. And then that's the purpose of the fundraiser perhaps. And that, you know, that may be difficult to prove, because, you know, there's a lot of expenses involved in putting on a fundraiser. So, it's a tough policy actually that you, approved, or you're considering approving.
Well, you know, the other side of the things, if it becomes so overwhelmingly financially detrimental to us, that we can look back at this and make some changes.
Absolutely, this is not written in stone.
And any other question before we open up this to Ms. Shirley Boyson, Amelia, do you want to read that, or?
Good. Or do you want me to?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Let's see, so Shirley Boyson, an email that was sent on Monday, the 13th. This news proposal regarding fee waivers for use of city-owned venues is clearer than the previous one. Note, however, Mr. Cinco's admonition that fee waivers mean loss of revenue to the city. It's needed for not only regular projects, but definitely for the theater upgrade and changes to Central Park. Additionally, this proposal would include 3 time requests. Where if she worked for Vince Barajas, if she must be the applicant's nonprofit status and financial needs. Not at all, this added waiver review, not lose revenue and be fair to all organizations that say no to fee waiver request. Should it like them, what would be?
Thank you.
I just have a couple comments, and with, so is there ever, are we ever waiving the hourly fees completely?
You would if you waived the policy, or if you granted the fee waiver,
The hourly fees would be waived completely,
yes.
but not discounted like they were previously.
No, they would be entitled to the discount of
So that's
discount.
what-
That would be there.
So is that the waiving that we're talking about is a discount, is that correct?
No, the waiving would be the waiving the 40%, excuse me, the
They can't-
60% fee that they
So
other.
that would be a very, like, if you would get it, you could get a discount if you're a nonprofit.
Right.
But if you need a full waiving of the hourly fees, then you would have to provide this criteria.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Correct.
But we could still give the 40% discount without all of this?
They're already
Already
entitled.
built into it.
It's part of
For
the
the
fee
nonprofit.
schedule, yeah.
Got it. Okay, no, thank you for clarifying. So this would be to waive the hourly fees entirely, and that would require them to provide the backup information.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for clarifying.
Okay, any further questions? Now we need a.
So I need to approve this resolution with amended,
Yes, and I can help you.
as amended.
Yes, that'll work. I know what you did. And it's on recording, so if I mess it up, people will know.
I motion to approve resolution 2024-33 as amended.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Let's have roll call, please.
Councilmember Costa Junior,
Aye.
Councilmember Robles,
I,
Councilmember Hernandez, Councilmember Fernaz,
Aye.
Mayor Jordan.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
All right, item 13, support for local implementation of California Master Plan on Aging to join the city AARP network of age-friendly communities.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you.
Now this one didn't work. We're getting a new charger pack, by the way,
Are we, what?
charger pack.
Oh, the Georgia Pack.
Yeah, for the rechargeable batteries. Sorry about that. Thank you, Mayor and City Council members, staff, public. At the council meeting on April 23, 2024, the City Council received a presentation from Margaret Weed, a member of the Santa Barbara County Adult and Aging Network. The AAN was created in 1999 as an advisory body to the Santa Barbara County Board of Supervisors on issues relating to older adults and people with disabilities. Ms. Week's presentation was very extensive, and it was provided to the City Council about the California Master Plan on Aging. The slides she used during the presentation can be viewed by clicking on the attached link in this report.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah,
The reason this is before us is to formally, because there was a consensus last time.
it was, yeah, I was gonna
And
get to
so, I asked that this to be brought forward for the full board, for the whole
Yeah.
council to say yay or nay. And I don't know if you have, I think there was well documented what she was talking about. And this isn't a one month, 1 year,
No.
2 year, 3 year,
Yeah.
4 year. But if we're looking at the future of the whole community, age-friendly community, we needed to have, to me, to have formal adoption by the board to say, let's move forward. And so consensus is, you know, when
Yeah.
you say consensus, that doesn't, there could be 3 and 2.
right.
As opposed to, it still may be 3 and 2, but I think that, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think that.
No, I wasn't gonna go through all these facts
Okay.
again. No, I just want you to know, you already heard enough of that. It was just more or
Okay.
less saying, it seemed like y'all were in favor of it. And this is just to put to an official
Okay,
vote.
all right.
So with that in mind, the city council on the docket is a recommendation that the city council adopt resolution number 2024-34 expressing support for the local implementation of the California Master Plan on Aging and for the city to join AARP network of age-friendly communities. So that's the report.
Is there a motion to adopt?
I'll make the motion to adopt
Is there a second?
2024-24.
I'll second. Oh, me, go ahead.
What?
No, I'll second.
Any discussion?
I just. I don't remember, was there a fee involved in this?
No.
We waived it.
No, there's no fee. No fee.
I was like, wait.
Just kidding.
40%.
Did I put it into the Parks and Rec?
It'll be in the minutes.
As part of the discussion, as soon as we talked about that and you came and presented, I went online, started filling this out and, you know, all kinds of answers and questions and stuff like that. I said, well, wait a minute, let me go back and make sure that our folks are on the same channel, so.
We have a diverse community.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just good.
Okay, we'll have roll call, please.
Councilmember Costa Junior,
I,
Robles,
I,
yes, Councilmember Fernaz,
Aye.
Mayor Jordan.
Aye. Thank you. Sorry, Tyler.
I just had a quick question.
Yes.
My mic was on.
Okay.
I know, it's not gonna change you guys' decision. I just wanted to know, like, if this master plan, does it provide like any financial like grants or anything like that?
I think eventually it will, once they
Yeah.
determine
What-
what
It's
our
much
needs are.
needed.
Yeah,
Okay.
Good question.
Yeah.
And the communities that are supporting it.
exactly.
I think as the mayor said, now the work begins,
Well, it does.
Well,
It's just,
you know.
Lots of.
well, part of that, this ties into our senior center and community center advisory committee. That we're moving forward, and I think it's, she'll actually go and present this to that advisory committee so we can. Put our lasso around everybody in the community that is supportive of that. Future agenda items.
I have spoken with Todd. A couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
I'd like to see if we can still get that, meeting, to get the joint meeting with the school board. Means that there's some changes coming, and I also spoke with Chief. In regards to 11th Street, with some changes that are going on. And I think we need to, push this issue. To get this meeting going, and I expressed my concerns with Todd, and like. Not gonna work that, you know, others would just like, we need to get it, and I spoke with, a board member about it. Like, hey, we need to get this, going, to get some stuff, cause, like I said, it's something very important, this is our community, our students, our community. We have a couple intersections that, have some issues, and I understand on our side it's kind of hard, but also the side of the district, so I think it's really needed for us to get together so we can get someone to get that going.
I spoke to Handel, I had the privilege of, there was a talent show and I was one of the judges, so pretty cool. Anyway, I talked to him and that was his issue, and I think it's timely. That time that we should be meeting, so. And I don't know where, last time we met
At the school, yeah, at school, yeah.
So I'm okay with that, council, fine.
Any particular time frame, or just try to figure it out with Handel?
Find out.
Get a few dates from him and then
Okay.
see what works for you and Chief and Bill.
Okay.
So we can sit down and.
If we're gonna stay
Yeah, just find out from him and then we can chat.
Sounds
They
good.
can also give us an update on school.
And then they can provide coffee for us.
Sure. Okay, we'll get it going.
Really?
We'll get it going.
Future agenda items, I have one, I know the Royal Theater's been, it's growing in terms of what's going on with that. And I think that there's a need for the community to be aware of what's going on. And, I think we need to schedule that and have Andrew Design Group to have a meeting here. And the council to, whoever can, to need to zoom in, but to have him here to discuss where we're at, some of the hurdles, some of the positives. Because there's a lot going on. It's, there's several working groups that are moving toward making sure that we build a facility, so. We can look at, find out from Andrew when he can. Meet, I don't know if we need to do a special meeting, I'm wanna get away from a special meeting, but. We'll have a lot of people that are interested in wanting to join, we may. Basically have. And I think all the council members probably wanna be there. So it might just be under a regular session and talk about it.
Yeah. Not a problem.
Okay.
I know how to notice that.
Okay.
It just depends if, the council wants to speak out about it or just listen. So that would help. There's two different ways to do it. If it's,
Well, there's listening, but also input.
yeah, with the way to prepare the agenda. If you guys want to speak about it, then you should have a session and run it like a normal meeting. If you just want to sit in the audience and participate.
No, to me, we wanna be able to.
To dialogue.
So would it be a regular meeting then?
Yeah.
Okay, on maybe even a single item. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
special meeting,
Special meeting.
and it'll have a single item.
Okay.
And
When-
community center or community, participation.
I have a comment on that. Is there anybody that could do a presentation of what's, I mean, I know it's probably been done a million times, but, a new presentation or an old presentation?
That's what the anticipation would be, probably having the project manager and Andrew on design, a dual presentation
Yeah, that'd be
within the
great.
same meeting.
Since it is a hot topic right now, should we choose to have that possibly in the city auditorium? I don't know if we would get enough interested people to.
I think you'd fill it up here,
Okay.
I don't know, Zoom, I don't know if we can do that.
Well, I think it'd be good to have a hybrid meeting with Zoom with in-house here. I mean, I don't know how many people would show up here physically, but definitely there's some out of town.
Here in the auditorium or here?
I was thinking here.
Ours,
There you go.
what if we were to make an event online and have people RSVP, even if it's just a city council meeting, city council meeting plus talking about the Royal Theater, that way we can kind of get a head count, but I don't know if that would end up doing anything.
I know we could try. I mean, I could figure it out with the project manager, could figure something out.
I could help too, so.
Okay. Oh, wow. It seems like you could.
Thank you.
Is there a particular date or just future?
Soon, like in June, right? Early June?
Yeah, probably, I don't know if it's early June, we're already there.
Oh, that's true.
25th?
Well, not on the 25th.
Yeah, no,
No,
That's Monday, right?
that's a regular council.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's regular council.
Yeah. Not that it matters, but you'll wanna have, if it's a Brown Act meeting, you'll probably wanna have legal counsel there. I will be out of the state. You don't mind me participating remotely, or I could have Wendy cover. She's already covering the 25th meeting.
okay, well, that's.
So, I mean, it just, not that it
You
matters.
can't make it?
I just,
Make it, but it looks busy too, so.
Yeah,
yeah,
We want you here,
I'll be out of state.
we want you here.
well, it could be like, it would be, maybe the week between the two council meetings, in June. That makes
Can do
more
that.
sense. And it doesn't have to be on a Tuesday, but I mean, it could be if that's,
Okay,
I mean, we can work with your schedule. I mean, staff can work with your schedules and come up with the date that works, and then we can just publicize it.
sounds good.
Find out from,
Yeah, I'll figure out it from the design group and then go from
Yeah,
there.
we have to be available too.
Yeah, yeah, and they're close by, so they can physically be real.
Okay. Any other future agenda item? Item 15 announcements, council activity reports. The wrestling group. Yeah.
So we just wrapped up the season, it was a quick 8 weeks, we finished, the league tournament, which was, hosted at the Getty High School by the Getty Wrestling Team. It turned out that quite a bit of people showed up, and, when it was all said and done, out of the 16, we placed second. Losing to Mesa Middle School. We still have a small number compared to a big school like that. I think they have like 65 wrestlers. Yeah, so points wise, as a team, they scored just a little better than us. We took some solid, first and second places. So the kids did really well, and, we just wrapped it up on last Thursday with our awards banquet, and we were all wrapped up, so, yeah, thank you guys.
Good job, good job.
Nothing.
G?
No. But I think Christina got something.
Well, people, CEC is hosting the Guadalupe Senior Fair this Saturday. They will also be having a mobile market. Then a gentle reminder about the Caltrans, virtual public meeting, which is May 15th. And then also on today, maybe this week on today's news, I read that the oldest Japanese American living was actually born in Guadalupe. Yoshiko Miwa was born in Guadalupe, California, to Japanese immigrants, and she was the 5th or 7th children, so I thought that was an amazing rule.
And there was that Japanese author that's gonna be here in July. And I can't remember the when in July, but he's going around the California talking about the internment. And the specifics with that, so I think it's posted somewhere. I had just a couple notes. Food bank, May 2nd, we saw 100 72 returning clients. And then we had new families served. Those are families, they're not clients. And then 29 new individuals that came in. And that's a total of 201 families. And if you look at 4 members per household, so that served about 804 individuals per household. Thanks to city staff for being there, because we had about 6 people, not normal people, but regular people that weren't there, but city staff really helped out on making that happen. SBCAG has a North County meeting where the North County representatives meet in Solvang. We met last Wednesday. And then South County has their group meeting. So we meet this SBCAG total meets this coming Thursday. But the city actually supported the new sidewalk there at the school. The school wasn't allocated anything. It cost $481,000 for the sidewalk along the new school. So the city has an allocation. There was so the city's money went toward that. There's $105,000 toward that project. So school and Gene's gonna have to come up with the rest of it.
We're gonna apply for ATP funds.
Yeah. There's it's interesting that there was another. We spoke during the North County meeting. There's people like Caltrans are saying, what's gonna take until 2027 for the roads to happen? SBCAG and they're projecting 50 years out with transportation money. And there's gonna be in the area for Guadalupe in 50 years, $21 million that's related to transportation. One of them is basically perhaps looking at how to reroute one around Guadalupe. That's way out there. I'm not even gonna be here then, but it's they're planning way ahead of time. There's projects in the works now, but there's again, they're projecting 50 years down the road. So
Wow.
yeah, so it's I don't know who's gonna be here in 50 years, but hopefully all of you will be, at least in mine anyway. So,
Well, you know, the 110 is the new 70.
all right, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, motion say aye.
Aye.
All right, 7:17.
Won the first two.
Good, yeah. And then always when you.
No,
Then they got it back. Yeah, well, that's all good.